right, yo, what's going on? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. It means it's time for another live stream. Today is Thursday, July 24th, 2025. I just got back from Iowa late last night, where it is very hot. Corn sweat is something that I've known about for a long time, but never ever called it corn sweat. But it seems to be the term du jour. Because there is a heat wave in Iowa, as well as it is very, very humid. And yeah, it was hot while I was over there. It's still hot here, too, back here in Crystal Lake. But Crystal Lake also, maybe not Crystal. Oh, yeah, Crystal Lake does have corn here as well. So maybe, is it? I don't know. It's nearby. It's nearby. There's farms here, too. And so, yeah, it's humid. It's hot. But I've survived. I'm here so far today. Although I did have to cut my run short. Anyway. Before we get into any of that stuff, I do have a lot of packages I also want to go over today. Some stuff that's off embargo now that I couldn't show you last time. But before we get to any of that either, let's say hi to everyone listening on the audio-only version on the podcast. Hopefully your workout went well and that you're cooling down with plenty of fluids left after the hottest part of the day and of your run. And for everyone else watching this later but not live, welcome to the #1 rated drive time radio show for runners that is neither at drive time nor on the radio. Welcome to you guys. All right. Yeah, Calvin says, Corn Sweat is the most Midwest sounding band name. It could be. It wouldn't be a Midwest like emo band name, but it could be a very emo name. And Sean says, please explain corn sweat. So corn sweat is the extra humidity that is given off from corn as a crop. And it's something that like I've always felt like whenever you run by a cornfield, it just feels gross. It's extra humidity and it's the corn like respiring, I guess. As it is doing its thing and just existing, it emits a lot of humidity. So areas where there is a lot of corn planted, like in the Midwest, Iowa being one of the core corn producing states in the country, not the only, but a core corn producer. Everywhere I run in Iowa is within visual sight distance of a cornfield, if I'm not actually running on a road that splits cornfields, which is usually the case. And so like anywhere that I go is just super hot. It's extra humid. And also the corn does a really good job of blocking any wind. And so there's no like crosswinds either. So it's just like hot, dead air. And that's what the corn sweat is. I feel like corn sweat is a misleading term because the corn isn't sweating, but it's just creating extra humidity and the air just feels like 100% humidity. It's just super gross. Yeah. Sean says though, in some bad news that Ozzy and Hulk Hogan in the same week? Hulk Hogan died this week? I didn't know that. I knew about Ozzy and then Theo, we lost Theo from the Huxtables, but I didn't know about Hulk Hogan. They do say these things come in threes. Interesting. Joe Miani says, Metaspeed Edge and Sky Tokyo officially released today. Is it today? I thought it was tomorrow. Joe, maybe you're somewhere ahead of us where it's already the 25th. I thought it was the 25th. But yeah. But yeah, I've been working. Well, I haven't been working hard at all. But I've been working with someone else to edit the interviews that I took of the athletes when I was in Japan. And we don't talk too much about Edge and Sky. We talk about it a little bit in the context of they were going to do that Tokyo Speed Race. But I'm trying to get those interviews out. I have to do some more work on it today, and hopefully they'll be out maybe early next week. But I'm excited for these shoes. I've been enjoying both the Edge and the Sky. The Edge I've been enjoying for shorter, faster stuff. I did some 5K work in it, and the Sky like for longer stuff, threshold and longer stuff. So it's been fun to run in both of those. But I'm also like, wait, where's the Metaspeed Ray? I haven't gotten one of those yet. So I do have packages, but that's not in the packages for today. But I also don't want to be like, hey, yeah, these 2 shoes came out. Don't pay attention to these. Pay attention to other shoes. So I feel like I'm not in a rush for the Ray. I've had a chance to run in it. It's super fun. I always thought it was a marathon shoe, but then everyone else that tested it when we were in Japan was like, wow, I don't know if you're going to run a marathon in those. And I was like, no? Okay. So we'll have to see once they come in. Yeah, Sonny says, the loss of Malcolm Jamal Warner is not like the others. I would say that's true. And that was a hard one, because I a lot of people that are like my age or more realistically like a little bit older than me, especially men, like grew up with Theo. They were like their age. He was a little bit older than me, at least on the show and stuff too. And so, but definitely I grew up watching that show. I loved that show. And yeah, it was horrible news to hear. Yeah, Brian Lang says, this is the number one podcast to hear about celebrity deaths. It's probably one of the worst podcasts to hear about celebrity deaths, because I don't follow a lot of pop culture like that. But yeah, what happened to Hulk Hogan? Does anyone know what happened? I don't know. And Soy says, who needs a sauna when you have a cornfield? So I have been using it kind of as a porn man's sauna a little bit. Just trying to spend some time sitting outside, usually with my family when we're in Iowa. Like we'll sit on grandma's porch, and I'll have some iced tea and just try to sit out on the porch when it's super hot. But I'm so bad at the heat, I just start dripping in sweat, and everyone else is kind of like, yeah, it's warm out, and I'm like, how are you guys sitting out here? Yesterday, what I did was I had to help my daughter on her workout for the day. She is in like a summer running camp where they meet 3 times a week, and whenever we're out of town, the coach will send my daughter the workout. And yesterday, her workout was threshold repeat kilometers. And so we did that workout. But on the way to that workout, I was like, it was super humid already. And I was like, hey, we drove from where my in-laws are to Dyersville, which is the next town over, about 5 minutes away. And it's like one of the only places where you could find a relatively flat like loop to run. And so we were going to run there. And on the drive over, I'm like, we're not going to turn on the air conditioning in this car. She's like, what? I'm like, we'll open the windows, but I feel like if we run the air conditioning real hard before we go and try to run in this humidity, it's going to make it feel extra worse. So let's drive there with like just the windows open. I did not like that. She did not like that. I don't think it helped. It felt like it may have made it worse. But yeah, I still don't think that I'm acclimating to the heat. It still feels miserable. Although I guess like the other day I was like, oh, it's 77. That's not that bad. But I feel like the temperature just doesn't matter. It's only the humidity that I feel. And if it's sunny, everything, it's all just equally bad. But when the sun's out or the humidity's high, that's when I feel it, regardless of what the underlying temperature is. I don't know. All right, Luis had a half marathon in Tijuana on Sunday. Has a half marathon. Weather seems to be cooperating. Might not be as humid and hot like last year's. Well, fingers crossed for you. You know what really surprised me? So there's an Instagram account I follow. His name is Rookie Runners. I met him in Boston this year. I think it was in Boston where I met him. I met him somewhere at an Adidas event. And he's a runner out of Mexico City, and he just ran the half marathon there. And I'm looking at this race, and he's got like arm sleeves on, and I don't think he's wearing them to cool himself down. And I'm like, wait, what's going on there? And I'm watching him run this race, and like the spectators there in like jackets and stuff. And I'm like, wait, is this from now? Was it this weekend? And it was from this weekend. And I'm like, what is the temperature in Mexico City that spectators are there in jackets? Now, I know that like some warm places, even when I would think it'd be like scorching hot, the people that are from there might be like, well, this is colder than it normally is, so they might put on a long sleeve. I was trying to figure out like what's the temperature in Mexico City. And right now the high temperature in Mexico City is in the 70s. The lows are like in the 50s. And that boggled my, I'm like, it must be because of the altitude. But it boggled my mind that he wasn't like dying of heat. Because I would think that running a half marathon in Mexico City in July would be not a good idea. But it looked like it was great. Now 77 is still hot, you know, but I don't know. I have a feeling it would feel, I mean, it is very high altitude, but otherwise I feel like it'd be nice. And I know, Luis, you're not in Mexico City. You're very far from there, but it just made me think of that. Yeah, JC says it's the elevation, baby. Yeah, and it's got to be. Mark Johnson has 4-mile beach race on the packed sands today, south of Boston. Hoping for an onshore breeze or there'll be no PRs tonight. Temp is expected to be 86. Wow, that sounds so hot, Mark. Because I know when I run Falmouth, that's always such a hot race. That's usually the hottest race that I ever run. And yes, that's in Boston, so it's not like in a hot area. I mean, I guess like the time I ran Peachtree was also hot. And then the time I did a shakeout run in Austin in July was also hot. But Falmouth is also really, really hot. Yeah, Lee says the elevation and smog is what makes Mexico City hard. Yeah, I don't think I could handle it there. All right, Adam was at the Masters Championships, USATF. I saw lots of footage from there, and I kept looking for you in some of the content that USATF was putting out. I didn't see Adam. But he's in Huntsville last weekend. He came in first in the 2000 steeple. Yeah. With a 7:56. Second in the 10K. The missed time caffeinated gel because of weather delays. Third in the 1500 at a 5:14. And outlean for third by 0.05. 1500 was the most fun. Great job. That's a lot of racing, Adam. That's awesome. Super cool. Congratulations. I was thinking about you over the weekend. I was hoping you were doing well. And it looks like it was a successful weekend. Alex says, when I was in Madrid, everyone was in Canada Goose jackets. I was dripping in sweat and shorts and a t-shirt. It's wild. Yeah. Yeah. What one person's hot is not another person's hot, for sure. Man. Whew. My meniscus hurt says, the Run Club scene videos of Mexico City I've seen made me jealous. I'm not there. Yeah, I feel like running looks like it's very fun in Mexico City. I'm like, frankly, I'm having a hard time like wrapping my head around it because it is such a high altitude city. And so many people run there. I guess I just have to check it out. I'm gonna have to go down there and check it out. Okay. Let's get to some of these packages. This first one, it took me a while to figure out what this package was because they had put the label on top of the brand that's on here. And I figured it out eventually. But let's open it together. I'm pretty sure this is not under embargo because it'd be unusual for a product of this type to have an embargo. Says merci. We appreciate your patronage from the CLA. So Michael, we're excited to share CLA's Fast Cap Elite Ethereal with you. We hope you enjoy putting it to the test and look forward to your thoughts. All right, check out this hat. So I've been loving these kinds of like bungee cord hats, especially with the ponytail, the man bun that I usually run in. And then this one, it kind of brings me back to like some of like the CLA origin of like they had. I was never sure in the beginning if CLA made hats for runners or for cyclists, but this has more of like a cyclist brim. Let's put it on. Yeah, I like this. I feel like this fits nice. A lot of it feels like it's very thin material on here. And then like if you look at the back, I don't know if you could see that because I wasn't looking at the camera, but it's like there's just a lot of open space back here. So I feel like the ponytail can get out there real easy. Also lets a lot of heat out of there real easy. So is this a hat that you wear the brim up? That look got like came through the running scene pretty hard for a little while there, and then it went away, and I'm glad because flipping the brim up never looked right on me. But I don't know, I might work on this one. I don't know. I like it down though. I feel like it's fine. Calvin says, isn't Believe in the Run launching a hat for Meg/runners with ponytails? I believe that they are. You know what's funny is that I forget what company it is that did that, but they also whatever company it is, they also reached out to me if I wanted to get in on that too. And I was like, I don't think so. I just like regular hats. I don't need a special ponytail hat. Shannon says, it looks like you have lizard scales as your scalp on the side. She says she likes it. Maybe. I'm worried because this stuff that's on the side here, it's kind of thick. And I don't know if that's supposed to serve like almost like a headband function and soak up some sweat, but it feels like this part's thick. And also it's doing some weird things in here. In terms of how it's constructed. So I don't know. I'm going to have to play around with it a little bit to see how I like it, but we'll see. I still prefer running in a hat. I'm going to put my Omius headband video review out hopefully tomorrow. It shouldn't be that long. But the thing about it is, like, I know maybe I should get the hat or the visor version, but I like having a hat. But also, if you're pouring stuff on your head and you have a hat on, sometimes the water just rolls off. And so I like really thin hats because that lets the water get in. Yeah. Thousand final Mike says this hat retails for $110. I don't know why it's $110, guys. But I will test it and report back. I'll let you guys know why it costs so much. There's pockets or something going. There's something going on in here. I gotta look. I forget why. There's something else in here. So see, like you can put. There's something going on in here. I forget some of the technical features that they talked about. I don't know why it's built like this. But I don't know. We'll have to do some research. We'll figure it out. One of them says, yo, what's going on with that hat? Yeah, Brian says $110 hat is a great video title and thumbnail. I know, but that kind of thumbnail brings all the annoying people. You know what I mean? And so that would be against my anti-growth strategy, where it's like I don't want people who like to watch videos because it helps them get mad, you know? Like, and so I don't do that. Richard Wilson says, you take the hat off and dump the water ice in the hat and on your head. Yeah, I mean, that's every hat, though, right? Stevie76 says, maybe the cap can hold contraband. You put your weed in there. Yeah, Kevin says, yeah, we don't want raid bait here. That's what I'm thinking. Like, I don't want to make people mad. I have a feeling like the Omius headband, when I make that review, like all the review, like I wish that like that YouTube had a function. I feel like they were testing it out, or it's like kind of opt-in that you can like kind of like timestamp what part of the video you're talking about when you make a comment. But I wish there was another thing that could tell me like what percentage of the video did this person watch before they commented, because I feel like the Omia's headband video is going to be like, "Whoa, this is dumb." So I'm like, that's a big reason why I've been delaying making it. But yeah. Sean says, it's CLA's Canadian, so maybe it's poutine polishes. It could be. Maybe. Yeah. I remember reading about this hat. There's reasons why it's made the way it is, but we'll see. All right, let's get to the next package. This is stuff that I bought myself. So, okay, we got two things going. First, I got a new set of microphones. They're from Hollyland. I keep seeing ads for this everywhere, and I've been avoiding them for a long time because of the way that I like to use lav mics. I like to use my DJI mics as just audio recording devices, right? Because you could hit a record button and it'll record locally, and these do not. But what I like about these is that they're small and they're supposed to fit. I guess I could open it up. They're supposed to fit on like the collar of your shirt while not being all that obnoxious. Like, I hate it when you see like the DJI ones and you see like a big square, like on someone's shirt, and also it's heavy so it drags down. I don't like that look at all. But I also don't like having to like mic someone up with a lav mic and kind of like run the cable down their shirt. I don't like doing that either. And so a lot of times what I have been using is just a handheld mic, because I feel like it does give the person I'm interviewing something to do with their hands, and I feel like that is disarming for people. So I've been doing that. So let me get, I hate it when packages don't open easily and you have to like destroy the packaging to get. I feel like that's what's happening here, but maybe I just need to be a little bit more patient. Here we go. All right, so with this one, let's do this. This was not that satisfying of a sound. Usually the taking things off sound is better. This packaging is so frustrating. I'm destroying them. Okay, so the way this one will work is that these are little lavalier mics and they're very light. And so I would be able to put it in like this. And then no logo shows and doesn't drag down the shirt that much. Whoops, this way. See, look at that. How do I like that? I still feel like it's dragging down the collar a little bit. Yeah, but see, I like that better, and it's not on, so you're not listening to the sound from this microphone, but I like this a lot better than some of the other options, so I might try that out. So we'll see how I like the sound quality from it, though. That's going to be the big thing. But yeah, there's that. Soy says, clip it in your hair. Oh, do you think I could? I think that'd be kind of funny. Like a hair clip? I don't think the audio would be good up there, but it could fit. It could go up there, I guess. All right. Let's see. Now, you guys are talking about crowns and stuff. I don't see those crowns. Maybe it's because of the interface that I'm looking at, but I'm not seeing the crowns. Now, this one is something else that I bought because I'm thinking ahead to my trip to Australia. And how I feel like I want to show you guys what I'm eating and stuff like that when I'm traveling. And sometimes I'm not getting all the angles that I want. And so I got this. I don't know. We'll test it out when I go to Detroit. But the idea with this is that it's small. It's kind of heavy though. But the idea is that it turns into its own little like tripod thing, and I'll be able to raise the angle a little bit better and then film myself using the magnetic part of the phone. There we go. So there's magnet mounts on this. And so that will kind of raise the viewing angle of when I'm trying to show myself eating. You know what I mean? So that's the idea with that. We'll see if it works. I'll play around with it. But I want to make sure that, you know, filming logistics aren't getting in the way of showing what I want to show you guys when I'm traveling. And this one, it also has a little carabiner clip. So they say it makes it easier because you can just put it on your bag. I'm not sure that that makes it easier, but it is small enough that in theory, I could put it in a half tight on one side, phone on the other, and then wherever I'm going, I have these things to try. So, yeah. Shannon says, angles of Co is eating, how Co is eating, and in slow motion. Yes, please. I'm trying. I'm trying to get the people what they want. Soy says, eating B-roll is the best. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go to some of the shoes that I have. I think there's two pairs of shoes to show you. First, I could show you the pair of shoes I couldn't show you last time because they were under embargo. And the embargo was weird. I asked them if there's an embargo. They're like, there's no hard embargo, but we're asking everyone to hold coverage till July 23rd. And I'm like, that sounds like an embargo to me, but fine. But this shoe is from Salomon. It is the Aero Blaze 3 in dark blue, white cherry tomato. What? Okay. Here it is, Aero Blaze 3. It looks very similar to the Aero Glide 3. Let me get that shoe. So here's the Aero Glide 3. Here's the Aero Blaze 3. It's a very similar shoe. I am not familiar with the Blaze versus Glide terminology with the Aero shoes at Salomon, but this seems to be a lower stack height shoe. If the Aero, they say that the Aero Glide 3 was supposed to be a daily trainer, but it was over 40 millimeters of stack height. This one I think is 35 millimeters stack height in the heel, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong on that one, but it's a lower stack height shoe. And so it's the same type of foam, but it should be a little bit less tall of a package. And I think that might make sense for like the kind of experience that this foam is. In the Aero Glide 3, it just looked like it should have been softer than it was. It was a very responsive, bouncy, fun, but bouncy shoe, but not soft and cushioned, you know? And I feel like if you take that and translate it to a little bit more of a trimmed down package, that could make for a really good daily trainer that I think may appeal to more of Salomon's hardcore audience more. But yeah, minimal tongue on here, not too much padding through the heel cup, that squared off heel cup that Salomon uses. The outsole is like identical. You know, it's a little bit narrower. This is a little bit wider of a footprint. So everything is just kind of like tightened up a bit on this one. And it kind of has that plasticky smell where you're like, is that fish? You ever get that? You know, like not like for those of you, mostly the Asians that are familiar with like a dried fish or fish jerky kind of product, kind of has that smell to it, but also textiles, like conference hall, you know? I don't know how to explain that smell. It's not bad, but it's subtle, but it's not great. But yeah. Luis says, I have the Aero Blaze and my son has the Glide. Very comfortable to run. All right, cool. I have a feeling I'm gonna like this. What's weird about it is that like I was going through my so when I'm gone and I was not exactly on vacation, but I was at my in-laws. I don't really look at my emails. I don't look at my emails enough as it is, but I really don't look at my emails when I'm gone from home. And I had just started going through some old stuff today, and I saw an email announcing this and asking if I wanted to review it. And I was like, hey, sorry for the delay. Can you send me a pair? And they were like, yeah, sure. And then as I came down here, I was like, oh, wait, I already have that shoe. So I did email and be like, never mind, I already have it. You already sent it to me. Don't worry. But yeah, this is this shoe. I'm actually looking forward to it. It's going to be, I think, nice and peppy and fun. All right. I'm getting a warning from Google that I'm almost out of storage. But we'll see. We'll get the shoe sheet up here. All right. Let's go down. Salomon Aero Blaze. You know what the thing is? I couldn't tell you if I've reviewed a Salomon Aero Blaze before. I think I have, but if someone told me that I had and swore by it, I would say, sure, I believe you. If someone said, you have never, and was confident about it, I'd be like, yeah, I believe you. This one I think will be a little bit more memorable. All right. Oh, I forgot to do it again. I forgot to try and predict what the weight would be before I actually weighed it and started looking at it. But all right. The weight was 8.1 ounces and 230 grams. So that makes it pretty light for a road shoe. But is this a tempo shoe or is this a daily trainer? I'm not sure. It looks to me like a daily trainer. It doesn't look like a tempo shoe to me, but 8.1 for a daily trainer I think is really nice. For this kind of foam too, you know. All right. Vanessa says, I've been running out of Gmail storage forever. I also have been running out of Google storage forever. All right. Now this package, I don't know if I could show you this to you guys. It's from Running Warehouse. They don't usually send me shoes. And I don't remember buying anything from them. The last thing I bought with it was, no, I don't think I bought it. Oh, maybe when I reached out, maybe they just had Running Warehouse send it to me. But I did ask Adidas to send me this, and here it is. I'm very excited for this. This is the Takumi Sen 11. What is this colorway that says on here? What? I don't know what it says for the colorway. Let's see what we got. The right shoe. Here is the Takumi Sen 11. It feels very light, and it feels like it has a lot of stack height to it. What color do we think this is, guys? Is this like lavender? I don't know. But this Light Strike Pro feels really soft. It feels really nice. You can see the energy rods through the bottom. But yeah. Juliana BV says, like the color. Aqua. Soy says it's turquoise. Brian Lang also votes aqua. Sean Devlin says lavender. LOL, no. Ogazi says cyan. Another vote for aqua. Vanessa also says maybe turquoise. My meniscuser says that box looks rough, like they kicked it all the way to your house. Yeah, it does. Well, it was also retaped. So, like, I feel like they taped it twice, too. So, I don't know what's going on here. It came from Alpharetta, Georgia. Yeah. Oh, but this says the Adidas Takumi Sen 11 men's shoe AQU for aqua. So I think aqua is the official colorway, maybe, or part of the colorway name. Martha says nothing to do with lavender. Okay, it's aqua. Aqua, by the way, means almost nothing to me. I have no idea what aqua would be. All right. I'm covering with my hand the scale right now, but I gotta find the Takumi Sen 10. And so look at these shoes, right? It's hard to tell because I'm holding them in the air, but to me, it looks like there's so much more foam in the Takumi Sen 11 compared to the Takumi Sen 10. But the Adios series shoes have their stack heights written on the side of the shoe, and they're both 33 millimeter stack height. I think that it looks like it might be. I think it's gotten wider across the forefoot of the shoe. And is it wider in the arch? It just seems wider everywhere this time. Is it lighter? I don't know. This feels more dense. This feels airier. But is it lighter? I feel like it might actually be... I feel like it's lighter or really close. I'm going to say it's 6.8. I don't know. All right. Get some convert to grams. Wait a couple of times. Brian wants to know if it smells better. This smells very plasticky. It smells like inside of a grocery store bag. But yeah, it smells fine. Yeah, it still looks very Takumi-ish, but I do feel like there's a lot more width here. So maybe more people will be able to run in it. Hopefully it doesn't take away some of that speedy feel from it. Shannon wants to know, is it the same foam as the Evo SL? I don't actually know. I will try and find a tech sheet for us. Well, even in the tech sheet, it probably wouldn't say. So I'll ask to see if it's... I would hope it's Lightstrike Pro, Adios Pro 4 Lightstrike Pro, and not Adios Pro 3 Lightstrike Pro. But I don't know. Yeah, Sean Devin says it'll probably soak up the corn sweat nicely. Yeah. And Louis says it definitely doesn't smell like lavender. Yeah, maybe not. All right. So the weight on this one, let's get this shoe up on here. It is the Adidas Takumi Sen 11, one of my favorite shoes. Make sure it's a size 9. Yeah. And the weight is, I guess, 6.8, but this is even lighter, 6.5 ounces and 184 grams. Is the Takumi Sen 10 on here? Do we have another Takumi on here? Let's sort the data. All right. Oh, I did the wrong one. I want to do it by grams. Takumi Sen is the same weight as the Metaspeed Sky Paris and in between Metaspeed Sky Paris and Cloud Boom Strike LS Light Spray. Lighter than Vaporfly 3, but not by a lot. 4 grams. And let's see, is there another Takumi on here? No. Let's get the Takumi Sen 10 on here. I don't know how many miles are on this, though. Let me see if I can pull it up on Strava. Sorry, it'll take a minute. But yeah, it's a substantial difference, I'd say. I to be honest, it's so different that I'm surprised that I wasn't able to tell with certainty how different they are. But yeah, so let's put in do this Takumi Sen 10, and I'm looking up the mileage number now. Road. Okay. I have 37 miles on this shoe. And it is over 200 grams, 202 grams. And that is 7.1 ounces. So yeah, it's substantially lighter. Now, there is some road use on here, so that makes a difference. I don't think it can make that big a difference though. So yeah, before it was the same weight as a Nitro Elite, which is a light shoe, but now it's even lighter by a lot. And I remember them saying that like the Takumi Sen 10, they were like apologizing, like, yeah, it is a little bit heavier than Takumi Sen 9, but we feel like it has it where it counts, or something like that. But yeah. Yeah, Frank had it right on the Takumi Sen 10, 7.1. Nice. Council Pino Mike says, I wonder how it compares with the Adios 9 if you're using both for intervals. Someone reminded me that I forget who reminded me, but someone reminded me that I have still not done a review of the Adios 9. And so I think I might just combine the Adios 9 review in the Takumi Sen 11 review, because they're both pretty similar shoes. I might have to do like a double threshold day where I'll do like 5K in the morning in the Adios 9 and then repeats, maybe I'll do it the other way around, repeats in the Takumi Sen 11, and then just put them both in the same video. But yeah. Ogazi says, why do you put the R shoe? Does it matter? I don't know if it matters. I never measure the left shoe, but there could be a situation where I might be measuring the left shoe. So I don't know. Yeah, it's just, I've always done it that way just in case. Calvin says, that would be a good video to compare the Adios 9 versus Takumi Sen 11. I'd say the Takumi Sen 11 is worth the extra cost. I would think so, but I think right now, like, it would depend on what you're using it for. Because the Takumi Sen is this still 180? That's a lot more than the Adios 9 is, and so like, my daughter does her track workouts. If she doesn't do track workouts in spikes. And when she does workouts, she does them in the Adios 9. That's her workout shoe. I don't know that she needs the Takumi Sen 11. I feel like the Adios 9 is probably right for her, But if they didn't have Adios 9, but they did have Takumi Sen 11, I'd be like, oh, this is just as good. It would cost me more, but I feel like that'd be pretty similar. But I think that the use case is slightly different, which is weird because the Adios used to be the marathon shoe. Remember there used to be a sub 2 version of the Adios, right? I forget, the Adios has had so many like weird offshoots, but I don't know. Fiona says the Ed Bud just did an Adidas roundup today. A lot of very similar looking shoes. Yeah, well, I think part of it is that, Adidas has always had a lot of similar looking shoes. Like, there was a time back when, like, remember the RC 2.0? I don't know if you guys remember that one, but like they had like the RC, the Adios, the Takumi Sen, like you would put the Boston in there. Like they had a different shoe for every like 2 or 3 millimeters of stack height, from like RC 2.0 all the way up to like then it would be like the Adios Pro. I don't think the RC 2.0 and the Prime X Strong existed at the same time, did they? Maybe. But yeah, so they've always done that, but now with this design language, yeah, if you get the same colorway in all of these, then yeah, they're all going to look very similar. So like this is my Adios 9 up there. Does look very similar to this. But different foams, slightly different geometries. Sometimes they have energy rods, sometimes they don't. Sometimes those energy rods are carbon, but yeah, they do look very similar. I personally like it when brands have kind of uniformity of design language. Calvin said, didn't we choose left or right shoe because of the left shoe you got from the Adidas Pro? Yeah, so I think that's why. No, but wait. So that sounds right, but Haile Gebrselassie signed pairs of Adios Pro 3s for us, but I have a left shoe. So then why wouldn't I have? I don't know how we ended up on right. I think I just had been weighing the right shoe for a long time. But this is the shoe that Haile Gebrselassie signed. But it's a left shoe. So I don't know. It's just I think it's just a convention. You know, conventions are just like, yeah, we've been kind of doing it that way, so we'll just keep doing it. I think that's what happened. All right, Adam wants to talk. Adam's had enough of the shoe talk. He wants to talk about track now. Parker Valby's out. Ryan Krauser's out. I didn't know about that. Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone is only running the flat 400, which is very interesting. Hobbs is doing the 1500, not the 800. Josh Hoey's only doing the 800, right? And then I think, is Grant Fisher doubling? So there's a lot of interesting things coming up for USA's coming up in a little while here. And I was just watching something before I came down here. Was it like TRP, Total Running Productions, was saying something about had a piece about Arian Knighton. I read something about a thing Mo earlier today. There's a lot of just track news coming out, and it's interesting. Now, anytime like I see someone that has like their like season or like their pre-meet preview is like, yeah, this person hasn't raced in a while and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, they're either injured or are they fighting some sort of provisional suspension now because of the Ruth Chepingetich story. And so now, I mean, which that story sucks on a lot of levels. That just another dimension in which that story makes being a track fan really, really hard. Yeah, so like there's been a lot of people that I feel like have not been racing as much as you would have expected them to be racing, and it makes you wonder why. But I mean, yeah, but it's still going to be an interesting meet. I wish I were going. I was on the fence about whether to go or not, and ultimately I'm not. And I think I'm going to regret it. But also I think I'm not going to regret it, too. Scuba Sun says Valby's out. Yeah, she's been mentioning she's had some injuries. And so she hasn't... I don't think she's been racing this year. And so, yeah. I think she's out. I also feel like... a lot of times when an athlete is suddenly appearing in more stuff, like from either like podcasts, social media, all that stuff, and it's not serious like podcast interview, like tell me how your training's been going. It's more fun stuff, personality exposure kind of stuff. That's usually when you're like, oh yeah, well they were injured. That's why that's why they made time for all these things now all of a sudden. And so that's why I thought, for example, the one time it has not served me well was this year in Boston, when I noticed that like Jess McLean was doing all sorts of social media, like public appearances before the Boston Marathon. I was like, oh, she either isn't racing this one that hard, and it's more of an appearance kind of race, or she's hurt and maybe she'll drop out or whatever. But then she ended up being top American. So I was like, oh, okay. It doesn't always work out that way. But a lot of times when I see the athletes suddenly doing more fun and light stuff, which I feel like Parker Valby has been doing, which is not normally what she does. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe, I guess that could be argued. But I felt like, this is unusual. And then we hear that she's not running. Brian says, I wonder if all these pros have the same PR manager. I don't think that they all do, but there's a lot of, I mean, there's a lot that have the same teams, but I wouldn't say all. Scuba says, can Valby do an elliptical 1500 meter race? Who would you take in an elliptical 1500 meter race? Parker Valby or Alio? I feel like they're both very much into the elliptical. I think that I think I'd probably go with Alio on that one. Yeah, Shannon says that Valby has a foot injury. And Calvin says that Sydney is going after that 400 meter record for sure. Interesting. Brian Lang wants to know, are the 2000s neon colors coming back in style? I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't know. Like, remember in the 2000s, like everything was like highlighter colors, highlighter green, highlighter yellow. At least that's how I see them. There was a lot of lavenders out there. I guess we're seeing some of that come back in the shoes, but I don't think we're going to see it like we did before. I don't know. I mean, I didn't mind that. Like, a lot of things were like salmon colored too. Andrew Scott says I'd be cool with more neon. I don't know. Martha says there's a Endorphin Speed 5 option in highlighter green. Is there? Interesting. All right, Adam says, in an elliptical competition, he would take Alio in a 1500, but Valby in the 10,000. Arc Trainer not elliptical. Okay. Huh, interesting. I would have put it the other way around. I guess we'll never know, though. Because I was like, well, I don't know. Yeah. That'd be a really funny event. But they have different sponsors, so there's no way that would kind of come together. Yeah, Brian Lang says, I can't wait for... Brian Lang says, I wish we could bring back light-up shoes. When my kids were younger, I wanted adult light-up shoes to match up their light-up shoes. And I just couldn't find any. And that was always disappointing for me. Yeah. All right. Guys, I think that's going to be a good place to leave it for today. Monday, I'm going to be out of town again, so we won't do another live stream until a week from today. So we'll see you again next Thursday. On your runs out there, it's corn sweat season. Stay hydrated, slow the pace down, and be safe out there. All right, guys? Thanks for watching. See you next time.